you down here a few weeks ago?
Nah, that was my first day. First time surfing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What was that?
I just thought you two guys were out there.
What were they doing?
No etiquette.
No, mate. No. The point of the documentary is that we're trying to promote surf etiquette. Because it's a beach where, as you said, it's notorious for having poor surf etiquette.
Sometimes you can't help but wonder if your student documentary is starting to rub a few too many locals the wrong way. The last time I ticked off another surfer was when I dropped in on my mate Fraze on this gnarly wave, who soon taught me poor surf etiquette was not appreciated. Once you move to the south coast though and stop being such a fool in the surf, you start feeling more confident to surf any beach. I'm talking North Beach, Easties, Bellambi, Woonona, Bulli, all the way up north to Dharawal and back down south to the farm. I finally felt like a local. Well, almost. You see, I've never surfed Sandon Point. It has an infamous reputation as one of Australia's most localised surf beaches. So with the help of the documentary crew and in an effort to conquer my fears, we began an investigation into the alleged localism with no idea that in just 3 weeks' time, I'd be surfing Sandon. All good investigation teams have a research headquarters. This doco begins in ours, Taj's storage room, which looks small in this photo he sent us and somehow smaller in real life.
It's nice.
So this is Sandon Point. What makes Sandon Point such a good break is it's got this really good right hand and it's a reef break, so really consistent waves. Probably some of the best waves in Australia.
I've got another article here that talks about Sandon in the 70s and 80s, when in fact they used to have steel poles coming out of the water that non-locals didn't know about. The idea behind them was that you had to be brave enough to surf Sandon Point and you had to know the beach well enough to know that you weren't going to land on a pole, break your board, or break your spine. And these poles didn't come out until the late 80s.
Bulli is basically a gold mine for real estate and property development. The buying price is averaging at 1.7 million, which compared to the rest of Wollongong, averaging at 1.2 million.
It looks like the Sandon Point board riders sort of do quite a bit in the community. This is all honourable and it's great they do this. I wonder how that plays into the localism though and the hierarchy that exists in the water.
We don't know who was put up by, possibly locals. About 3 years ago, they wanted pecking order, right? Locals up the top, blow-ins down the bottom, well down the bottom.
There's only so much you can learn in poorly air-conditioned storage rooms, however. So we hit the streets to see what people had heard of Sandon Point.
I don't go to Sandon Point.
Why don't you go to Sandon Point?
You can't surf there. You can't. If you're not from there, you can't get away.
You sit by home, and then you wait for the wave that they don't want, and you catch them. But
How do they know if I'm not from there or not though? Like how do they know whether they should drop in on me or not?
they all know each other. They all know each other's
Have
names.
you heard about being the dog beach?
Oh, a dog beach.
Sandon Point, the just north is a dog beach.
Oh, nice, okay.
Yeah.
But this old bloke paddled up right next to me, sat pretty much shoulder to shoulder like this, and he said, "So mate, how many times have you been here?" And he goes, "Really mate, I think you should probably head in."
The reason I know about it is because my dad was always surfing there in like the 70s or the 80s.
Well, let me give you one of these. It's an anonymous hotline where he can submit an audio form about his experience there, and we might be able to hear from him specifically.
You need to have respect in a lineup, and you need to have people who understand that they can't roll it and then cutting off the locals that really do run the place.
My name's actually Sandon.
Your name's Sandon?
Yeah.
You're the. Are you? You could hear from a long way off. Like these people kind of feel like they have a sense of entitlement over the break.
And saving the best till last.
Hey, Jan, have you heard of Sandon Point?
I have. Yeah, dude.
Despite this guy laughing, we discovered surf localism was nothing to joke about. We needed to hear from someone on the inside, which led us to Ben the Rubberman Anderson, 30-plus year local of Sandon Point and former president of the Sandon Point Board Riders. We first heard of Ben during our initial research, and now we had the chance to sit down with him one-on-one to discuss localism.
Sandon Point has quite the reputation. Why do you feel it's developed that reputation in our community, and is it fair?
Yeah, it does have a reputation. There's a heavy energy out there. You know, people have died out there. It's not a beginner break. And a lot of people who don't understand some of the finer points of surfing etiquette will come out and just not be aware of the history, the culture, and the lineup, how a lineup works, and that sort of throws things into chaos and puts people in danger. So there is such a diversity of people out there. I wouldn't go to another place and expect to get the best waves when there are other people who live for that break there. I'd be getting what I could, but I'd certainly respect their investment in the lineup.
So we did have a read of the Illawarra Mercury article, and in that article you spoke of a pecking order.
Yep.
Why is a pecking order necessary if everyone is respecting the traditional surf etiquette?
Yeah, it's a tough question. What do you say about a pecking order? Well, I think, again, it comes back to what are you bringing to the table? If you're just coming from somewhere else and expecting to go out there and get whatever you want and leave and bring nothing with you other than getting your fill, that's a bit different to someone who's out there supporting the community. Is it a pack mentality? I guess so. Can anyone be part of the pack? Well, probably, if they invest their time in there.
Why would a non-local invest their time into trying to join that pack, I suppose, becomes the question.
Well, originally I was a non-local and I fell in love with the place and saw the beauty of it, felt the power of it. I was hooked. Never looked back, but yeah, had to endure some hardships to earn my place in the lineup, that's for sure.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're right.
Really appreciate it, Ben. Cool.
We left the interview with a newfound respect for Sandon Point and the locals who surf there.
I thought it was great. Yeah, he almost made me agree with him.
Despite his stark warnings though, there was only one way for us to truly discover how localised Sandon Point really is. I'd have to surf it. And preparations were well underway. Emailing council to confirm Sandon's public? Tick. Practicing my pop-up? Tick. I'd even had my buddy who studies law write up an employment contract for my other buddy with broad shoulders. And after wooing him with a basic magic trick...
Need a pen? What's that behind your ear?
He agreed to sign on as a pro bono security guard.
And what would the payment be for this?
That's all there in the contract.
And with his signature, we were ready.
Hey, who's ready to surf Sandon?
So we made our way down to the point, ready to face any localism that would come our way. But upon arriving, we faced one small problem in the investigation. No locals were surfing the break. But we'd come this far, and if my goal was to not make any locals unhappy, then it was safe to say in a lineup of 0 surfers that couldn't happen. And so I was out at Sandon Point. All that was left to do was to surf a wave. I left the water triumphant. For weeks I'd fretted about surf etiquette, the lineup, and frankly, the possibility of a confrontation with a local. And yet, despite the rumours, there was nothing to worry about. Well, Doco's not over yet, because as we were packing up our cameras, a local insisted on an impromptu interview of sorts, taking issue with the publicity this film, if successful of course, could bring to Sandon Point.
People we put stuff on the internet, all they're doing is bringing people here and then going home. They're not staying here and everything.
I mean, true. Maybe though, if it's a documentary about the localism, could that deter people?
Just don't do anything like
Won't deter people.
Look somewhere else, plenty of other places. So you guys could be bringing another 50 people here every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, and just stuff it up for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's each person's prerogative whether they want to come though or not. So do you feel that it should be it like sort of the locals only beach? Who has the right to surf?
Let things happen. Don't go and put things on the internet.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone, just come and wreck this joint.
who deserves to be able to surf here, I guess is the question.
Who deserves?
Yeah, who gets to surf here?
Well, I probably deserve to surf here. When people have looked at my phone and gone, oh, golly gosh, it's on the internet, it must be good, I better go there.
And in that moment, he said the quiet part out loud. Sandon Point's never been about surf etiquette. It's never been about the lineup. It's about ownership. But no one owns the beach, and no one has the right to make you feel that you don't belong. So here's to you, old mate. I'm glad you rode past again so we could properly say our goodbyes.
Bye, sir.